What's up guys, Ratha here with another tutorial. This is going to be part 3 of the drone modeling series. This is where I actually go in and use the surface features in SolidWorks. So if you guys are new to surfacing, you guys got to check this video out. I cover boundary surface, fill surface, trim surface, pretty much the surface tools that I mainly use to create complex geometry like this drone here. I'll show you guys something like this where I model the drone body. This is all created using surface geometry. It's pretty complex, but the reason why I use surface geometry is that if I want to get a complex curve, I'll create one curve at a time or one surface at a time. And if you guys want to follow along, make sure you guys download the links below. This will get you the same files that I'm using right now to start out with. So without further ado, let's get into it, guys. Okay, now that we have our sketch pretty much fully defined, what we're going to do is we're going to create some reference geometry. We're going to actually add some planes to these points here. The reason why we're going to add points here is just going to be where our starting and end profiles are when we create our boundary surface. So sort of like this guy here. See, so we're going to create this surface. So we need a starting point for our profile and an ending point. And then we're going to finish the rest of the profile here. So let's hop back in. Okay, so to do that, let's pull this side back up. Go to reference geometry, select plane, select this point, hit the drop down menu, and we're going to select the front. That's going to create that plane there. Hit OK, and let's move it up or scale it up to make it easier to see. Just grab one of those endpoints here. Okay, and the other plane is going to be here. Since our profile is going to end there, make sure you hit the drop down menu again, hit front. Okay, grab it, it puts a plane there. Let's do another one. Actually, since we select that earlier, just hit exit, select somewhere out in space, hit plane, and we're going to select this point here. And also we're going to do front plane as the reference for our second reference. Hit OK. Grab it, scale it up. And because we're also going to create this profile down here. We know the profile doesn't live here. It lives somewhere right in the middle. So what we're going to do is add a reference plane there as well. So we're going to grab, so the line is here. We're going to grab that point there. Then we're going to select the top, and that's going to add a reference plane here for us. So if you grab it, that's where it's going to live, right in the middle. Usually I'll name these, but I'll do that later for the sake of time. Next is to draw our profile. I actually like to start out with the easiest surface first. The reason why I do that is so that it creates a starting point for me, because it's known, and then once I have all my known profiles, I'll be able to use those as a way to find out the unknowns. So before I start drawing the profiles, I'm actually going to draw some helper surfaces because we're going to mirror this over, but we're just only going to build half of the surface. So to do that, I'm going to go into the right plane here, hit sketch, and I'm just going to convert entities on this side, on these reference layout here. So hit convert entities, select this line, hit OK, and so hit the check mark, and we'll hide these sketches real quick so you can see. So now that we converted these entities, and I did it this way instead of going up here and making a extrude surface, because I didn't want this sketch to be absorbed. So by using convert entities, I'll be able to keep my layout sketches there without being absorbed. So now that I have that, what I want to do is go to surfaces. If you don't see the surfaces tab here, go to add-ons, right click it, make sure surfaces is checked. So with surfaces, we're going to actually do an extrude. So hit extrude, and we're going to go the other direction. So we're going to flip it, and we're going to make this 40. So I'll hit OK. So that's one helper surface. And then the other helper surface is going to be the bottom profile, because That's what I know. So we're going to draw that on this plane 4. So select the plane here. You can select it here, or you can select it here and just go right click, hit sketch, and then we're going to copy. And I actually want to hide the planes just to make that easier to see. So just hover over, select the plane, hit spacebar, and that will bring you back to frame. So now we're in this view. We're going to convert entities. So hit convert entities, select that point, that, hit OK. And I'm actually going to close this. So I'm going to go to the line tool. And let's close that up. So now that's going to be our second helper surface. And then I'm going to go to surfaces and hit planar surface. Okay. And we'll just go remove. And let's actually go to the drop down. Let's go to 3-point fade. Makes it a little bit easier to see. And let's go to appearance. It's really white, so I just kind of want to darken it up a little bit so I can kind of visually see it easier. Okay, so these are 2 helper surfaces. This is going to help create the profile sketches and make it tangent. And now that we have our surfaces, now let's begin our sketches. So I want to start with the back plane first. I'm going to hit right, hit sketch. All right, let's go to your spline tool, hit the spline button, click once, click a second time, hit exit, grab this point while holding control, hit this point and make that pierce. Same thing with the bottom, select that point, make sure you select this line here or the edge of that surface and make sure that's a pierce. Then we're going to select the spline itself, pull out the handles, and we're going to make this point here, select the spline, select the edge of the surface here. We're going to make that tangent. And then now we're going to add a reference line. So I just created a shortcut. I just hit S, and this is my reference center line. I'll grab the point here, shoot all the way down, make sure that's vertical, and then we'll select that and hold control, select that, and let's make that tangent. Then I'm going to dimension these handles. These are just going to be random dimensions just to constrain the profile. So we're going to dimension, we're going to make this 140. And we're going to make this 205. So that is our first sketch profile. Let's create our second profile now. So let's go to plane 2. Let's show that plane, hide plane 1, select the plane, hit sketch. And because we know that starting and end condition is going to be the same, we're just going to select that first sketch there and just hit convert entities. This way we don't have to redraw the sketch. Hit OK. And now I have my first profile and my second profile. What I like to do is I like to use the boundary surface, select the first profile, then the second, and then I used to and then I grab these guides here, guides there. I feel like it just gives you more control if you show the curvature display. And then the reason why I was telling you earlier is I like these end conditions where I can drop down and say tangency in the face. And that's going to make this surface tangency to that face. So this is kind of the way I like to do it. I mean, yeah, you can use surface sweep. In this particular case, it worked out. But some cases, it doesn't work out that way. So just use boundary surface because it gives you more control. And I want to make this tangent to face. The influence, it looks pretty good right here. So I can just keep that at 0 for now. And hit OK. And there's your first surface using boundary surface. Okay, next is we're going to make this front surface. So you would think, okay, surface fill, that should fix the problem. So let's try surface fill real quick. Let's go to fill surface. Select that, select that. And then we're going to make this tangency. Let's go to tangent. And then we're going to make this contact. And then we're going to make this tangent. And see, you can see it doesn't work. So what we're doing is we're asking this fill surface command to do too much. So let's break it apart. Let's hit exit. To simplify the surface, what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to create another profile here. So let's do that real quick. So we're just breaking up this patch and making it smaller, or that the boundary surface tool or the fill surface tool can work properly. So let's go back into the sketches real quick. Let's go to the front view. So we're gonna draw this profile here, and we're gonna draw it on the third plane. So let's grab the third plane real quick, hit sketch, hit our spline tool, grab it somewhere here, click it somewhere there, hit exit, same thing, grab that end, select the surface, make that a mid pierce, same thing, grab that, hold control, select that, make that a pierce, and let's go into the front view, grab these handles, kind of massage it to its desired profile. And then we're gonna add a construction line again, because we're gonna make this tangent. And we're gonna make this guy. Another thing is, because I don't have a line here like I had in the back, what I can do is, okay, so select the spline, select the edge of the surface, and then select the face. And then we have tangent to face. Perfect. Okay, let's see how this sketch surface matches our front profile sketch. So let's pull that back up. So you can see it kind of dips down a little bit. So this should not be tangent. So let's delete that constraint. Let's kick it in this way a little bit. So it's still tangent to this line, and then we're gonna define this and give it some more control. So we're gonna draw another construction line. Let's zoom up in there, and then we're gonna dimension it and give this a, let me see how close, maybe 11-degree kick. Cool, and that should define this sketch to the picture better. Okay, I like that. And then now we're gonna give this a dimension. Say that's 280. And then we're gonna massage this down just a little bit. Right there. Oop. Oh, doesn't like that, but yeah, that should be good enough. There you go. Let's move that guy over. Okay, that looks good. Okay, let's exit out. Okay, now that we have our sketch here to break up this surface patch, what we're gonna do is use boundary surface, select that edge, select the new profile you just created, and then go down to direction 2, select this edge, and select the other edge. And then let's take out these curvature cones. Next, what we're gonna do, then we're gonna add some end conditions. So tangency to the face and tangency to the face, because I want this to blend in here and I want this to blend in here. So when I mirror, it's a seamless blend. And you can see right now it's converting to a point, which is a big no-no, but that's fine. We're gonna hit OK. And you can see right there, you can kind of see that wrinkle. If you go to evaluate, you go to curvature, you can see there's the curvature here is pretty bad. So no worries. Same thing with the zebra stripes evaluation. You can see it. You don't want anything converting to a point, and the reason why is because when you decide to shell or anything like that, it either will give you an error and you can't shell, and it wrinkles up. As you can see here, if I rotate it, you can see it wrinkles up at that point. We want nice and clean blends. So no problem. We're gonna select the plane 2. Then we're gonna use the trim back tool. So go to trim surface, make sure the plane is selected, and make sure you go remove selections, and we're gonna remove that face. Hit OK. Okay, I got that guy out. Now we're gonna create a fill surface. But before we do that, fill surface likes helper surfaces. So we're going to create some helper surfaces. I'll explain what that means. So let's hide that sketch there. So let's create a helper surface. Let's go to the right view. And we're going to draw a helper surface. Go something like that. Just like that. Let's make this tangent. And we're going to give it some dimension. Let's give this 60. Oop, not 600. 60. Okay. So that's one helper surface. It's tangent. And we're going to create another helper surface. So let's go to the plane 3 and create a line there. And then we're going to grab this, pierce it, make a construction geometry. So we're going to grab this edge, hit construct geometry, and we're going to make this tangent. And then we're going to select this and make this construction. Then we're going to make this tangent. Okay. And we're going to give this a dimension of 660 as well. Okay. So as you can see, we're going to create this lower helper surface so that when we use fill surface, it has a surface to kind of curve against. Hopefully that makes sense. So now we're going to do boundary surface, select this sketch here. So then when you have the nodes reversed like that, just right click and just say flip connectors, and that's going to correct the connectors for you. Go to direction 2, we're going to use this edge. And then we're going to trim, because all we want is just this part of the surface. So trim direction by 1, hit OK. And then next is to knit, because we want to knit the surface to create this fill surface. Go to knit surface, select, and that guy. Hit OK. And we'll hide this sketch here. We don't no longer need it. And now we're going to patch this guy up. So go to fill surface, select this, and this edge here. Show preview, tangent to all edges. And so then this surface here, we're going to be tangent because it's going to blend into that. And then it's going to be tangent into that. So what surface fill does is it, imagine putting a tarp over it and then pretty much trimming out the edges of the tarp to create your surface. And this surface here that we created, this helper surface, is there so that it curves against it. It doesn't get pinched. So hopefully that makes sense. And let's evaluate the curvature combs. Let's scale this down. Okay, looks good. So tangent to that face, tangent to that face, and then tangent to that face. Okay, I think I like what I see. And make sure optimize surfaces off, apply all edges off, and I think we're good on that. Okay, and now we can delete some faces. So let's knit first. Hit OK. Oh, sorry, not delete face, delete body. So go down and delete, you want delete body. So delete this body. Hit OK. Oops. Edit. I want it to delete that body. Okay. And then delete face will be this face because we don't want to mirror that. So hit delete. Cool. And this is our first profile. Oh, you can see something here there's a hard line. So even though it looks tangent, it's actually not. When you have fathom lines here, that's actually tangent. And to get these lines to be there, go to view, go to display, tangent edges as fathom. Make sure that's selected. Anytime you're working with surface geometry, make sure that is selected so that you can tell what surface is tangent and what is not. And you can tell if I even go to evaluate, go to zebra, you can see that there's a kink there. And if I go to curvature, I can't really see it there too much, but zebra stripes, you can definitely see that there's a kink. So let's go back to that surface. Let's see what's going on. Hit edit. Oh, okay. We don't have an end condition. That's why. So let's make that tangent to the face. No biggie. And you can see that there's a spike here. So we may want to increase that tangency so that the spike is a little bit smoother. Let me see if I go. So make sure tangent edge is selected. Go to influence. Let's bring it up to 100. There you go. It's a little bit smoother now. So in that particular case, I use the tangent influence to make that blend cleaner. And there's another spike here. See where the blue curvature comb is. So let's go to that other tangent and let's increase the influence. All right, there you go. You can see the spike doesn't dip down here. It actually goes up and it's a lot smoother. So let's increase that to make that blend a little cleaner. Okay, there you go. Now that we fixed it, we get this clean blend, and it's showing fathom now, so that we know that the line or the blend here is actually truly tangent. And if let's say for the sake of mirroring it, I'll mirror this real quick so you can see the blend in the middle. So go to features, mirror. We're gonna mirror it across the right plane. Right. We go to bodies, select that whole body, hit OK. And then we're gonna knit it. Surface, knit. We should get a nice blend. So you can see here, there's a phantom line, and we made sure our blends are good. So the tangency across the midpoint is correct. Okay, before we actually start the bottom half of the drone, I like to actually pause here and actually evaluate each surface. So let's actually roll back, and we're gonna evaluate these 3 surfaces here. What I'm checking for is I'm checking for clean blends and clean curvature. So let's go to evaluate, go to zebra stripes. You can see the blend here is good in the horizontal direction. It doesn't converge to a corner, which is good here. We corrected that earlier. The blend between these 2 surfaces are good. There's no jagged edges, which is good. And I like what I see so far. So now let's look at the curvature. So the blend here on this surface looks really good. Got the smooth from blue to green. Same here, blue to green, and then blue to green from here. But we have this black areas, and that tells us that it's pretty flat and that the blend there is pretty not as good. So let's correct that. So, and I think it has something to do with this sketch profile there. So let's go back to that sketch, which is sketch 5. Hit edit, go back to the sketch picture for the front view. Let's bring that back, and it's off by quite a bit. So let's delete this dimension. We're gonna massage it. And by deleting that, you can kind of see it already kind of matched it better here. And I think what I need to do is add equal curvature. So we'll select this, and while holding control, select the second line there, add equal curvature. And then we're gonna bring this guy out there to massage it to make sure it's good. Bring this guy down, over. Let's give this a dimension now. Let's lock it in. So let's say 303. I think that's gonna fix it. Let's go back out, hit OK. And let's see. Still there, reduced it a little bit. Still don't like that. Let's go back. Let's delete this and let's massage this a little bit. Maybe it needs to go down a little bit, over to the right. So you can see that, this takes some time to get the right curve, but just spend the time up front and just get it right before moving on. Hit OK. So it's getting better, and I think I know why. So let's go back to this surface fill command. And right now I added tangency to that face. Let's look at the mesh and let's look at the curvature. Oh, looks pretty. Scale it down, bring up the density. And I think the reason why is you see that it's kind of flipped over there. So I think I need to make that edge curvature instead of tangent. So let's go over and select that edge and make that curvature. Let's see if that actually helped. Still dips down a little bit, but that should be okay. Let's see, hit okay. Boom, there you go. That black spot disappeared. It's now a better clean surface blend. So I think I'm ready to move on to the bottom half. So that's what you guys want to do, is you guys want to just evaluate your surfaces first before you move on to the next surface. Just do that every time, just a rule of thumb, so that you don't have rebuild errors down the road and that you get the surface that you want now versus later. All right, I don't need to have this second half because I'm going to mirror that towards the end. So let's go and delete the knit and the mirror. Okay, let's now hit Control S, save that, and let's build this bottom profile. So again, we're going to kind of do the same thing as we did for the front. We're going to create some helper profiles because we're going to mirror the bottom half over again. So let's go to the right sketch layout view. And so there's the right layout sketch. Then we're going to go to right plane, convert entities, and we're going to select this bottom profile here, I believe, because that's what we're going to mirror across over. Hit OK. Then go to surfaces, extrude. Make sure we're going the other direction. So and make sure we go about 40 out. Hit OK. And then we're going to start the back profile and work our way forward again. Same thing like we did to the top. So the bottom half is going to be very similar to the top half. So I'm going to speed through it real quick. So let's go to the plane 1. Go to spline. Click, hit exit. Grab this. Select. Actually, let's actually hide the sketch so that doesn't interfere. Grab that. Grab that face, hold Control, pierce, grab that, hold Control, select the bottom, pierce, and then we're gonna make this tangent. So grab that, select the edge, tangent, okay, and this we're gonna define. We're gonna go to our front view. So when I'm switching views really quickly, I just hit space, hit the front. Boom, as soon as we go to the front view. Okay, now we're going to dimension this. So before we do that, let's actually select the sketch, show curvature. And then we're going to tweak this to kind of get a smooth curvature. So let's grab these handles. If you don't see these points here, just hit the spline and make sure you got, I think it's display control polygon. That's going to give you more control over your spline. So you can see I want a nice clean blend from here to here. So I believe we're going to make this 121 and 110. That's going to be our blend. You can see I like that clean blend there. Hit exit, hit OK because I like that. So we're going to go to plane 2. Hit sketch. Actually, let's hide that back sketch. Or let's go into it, hit that sketch. Let's go and select it, turn off the curvature because it's kind of annoying. Okay. And let's go back to plane 2 sketch. Let's go to your regular spline. Select it here, hit exit, pierce it. Select somewhere here, pierce it, select the spline, select the edge, and select the face, and make it tangent to face. Okay, let's go up space, go back to the front view. Let's examine the curvature. Okay, I like that so far. Let's bring it back a little bit maybe. As you can see, I'm just kind of massaging it so the blends are good. I'm kind of focused on that. So, yeah, I like this blend here. So let's make this, let's dimension this, lock it in, say 153. And I lock it in too just because if I do need to go back and correct the curve or something and I need to make a really small change, I can just tweak the dimension and not have to pull on the control splines and make a drastic change. You can make really small changes. So let's make this 111. So I like that. Hit exit. And I think, let's go back into it actually, because let's hide that curvature comb because we don't need to see that anymore. Hit OK. Okay, now we can connect these two surfaces together. Let's try boundary surface. Select that front, back. You can see the control points are reverse. No problem, right click, flip connectors, select the edge. Oop, hit delete, go to direction 2, select that space, hit the edge. And you can see it goes all the way to that point, but if I just select one, I get an error. No problem. Hit delete. So you want to right click, go to selection manager, select that edge, and you can see the tangency shows up, or you can just select the edge manually. Let's just try the tangency. See, and it selects both edges for you, and hit OK. And that's what we want. Now we don't get that error. And we know we need to mirror this over, so we're going to make this edge here tangency. So hit tangency to face. And let's examine the curvature real quick. I can barely see it, so we'll scale up. You can see there's a nice blend there. And it kind of flips right there. So let's make this tangency influence higher. So select tangency influence. Bring it up. There you go. Reverse, it blends it a lot cleaner. And then I may need to go back into the dimensions of that sketch profile and tweak it, but for now this looks good to me. And we'll go trim by 1 and 2 just to make sure that these are trimmed and nice and clean, and hit OK. And I like that so far. The blend looks good. Let's go to evaluate curvature. It's kind of flat. We can probably fix that down the road, but for the most part, the blend is good. Okay, I like what I see. Okay, now we're gonna build this surface, and like again we did with the top, we're gonna split that into 2, just because we don't want this to converge to that corner, and we just wanna kind of simplify the patch. So let's go into the front layout. Let's show that. And let's go into, because it's going to be on this point here, it's going to be plane 3. Hit sketch, zoom up to it, and let's draw that profile. Do your spline again, select exit, grab the point, and let's pierce that there. Let's pierce that there. Cool. Let's make this tangent. And I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to draw a construction line, draw this over, make sure that's horizontal, select this and do tangent. And let's go into the front view again. And let's massage it. Yeah. Something like that. Like that. Yeah, we may need to make this equal curvature, just like that. Let's see if that works for now. Yep, that looks good. bring it out right there. Looks about right. It's not spiking up on me anymore, which is good. So I like that. So to add more control, I'm just gonna dimension this. So let's give this draw a construction line, make this tangent, and then draw another construction line, make this horizontal. Then we're just going to give it a angle dimension. So we'll make this 56. That just gives us more control. So if we want to tweak it, we can make small tweaks to it. I like what I see. Let's turn that off. You know, we may need to bring this guy out a little bit. Yeah, let's go right there for now. Let's bring it back, actually. Yeah, that's good for now. Hit OK. And let's hide that curvature comb. Select that. Okay. Now we're gonna patch this guy up real quick. Do the same thing and then trim back. So let's go to surfaces, boundary surface, and let's just patch this first patch here. So select this profile, select this back profile, and then we're gonna go to direction 1, go there and there. I think that looks good. And then we're gonna just trim, make sure that these trim conditions are on. And then we're gonna blend that. So we're gonna make this tangents to face. And then we're gonna make this one tangent to face because I'm gonna mirror it. I like what I see. Let's turn on the curvature combs real quick. Okay, the blend looks okay, and then we get kind of jagged here. So let's turn the influence on and see what that does. So it's gonna be this guy. Nope, that guy. This guy here, top. And let's bring this up to 100. Doesn't do anything. So I may have to go back and make a tweak there, but I'll examine it later. And let's hide direction 1. And let's scale it up because I can barely see it. Go tangent face. It looks okay so far. Doesn't seem to be spiking. That looks cleaner. So I'll just bump the tangent influence to this back blend. You know what I mean? I may need to go back and do curvature to face, but I think this is good for now. Hit OK. And just to examine it real quick, just gonna knit the two together real quick. So clear, knit this surface and that surface because I want to evaluate the blend. So evaluate zebra stripes. Okay, that looks good. I think I like what I see so far. And then curvature. So okay, there's a clean blend there. I can see, remember that spike that I was talking about? So we may need to correct that down the road, or once I patch the surface up, I'll evaluate that again. So let's delete the knit because now I want to create this surface now. So hit Controls S to save because SolidWorks is notorious for crashing sometimes. So I think I like what I see so far. We'll see. Now let's create a helper surface. So if I flip this over, what I need to help is this is gonna blend like this. So I need to create a helper surface upwards here. So let's create that helper surface real quick. Right view. Let's go to right view. Okay. Create a line. And let's make this, let's convert entities real quick. Convert entities. Let's make this construction. Grab this point here. Select it. Boom. Make this tangent. And let's give this a dimension of 60. Okay. I like that. Let's turn off the curvature because that's kind of annoying. Let's create the other point. Plane 3, sketch, create a line, somewhere like that. And let's grab this edge and do convert entities. Let's make that a construction. Draw that, connect those two together, merge those points. Select to make that tangent. And we're gonna make this 660. Okay, like that. So we're gonna do a quick helper surface. Go to boundary surface, select this guy, and select this edge. So direction 2 is that edge. Okay, like what I see, cool. So now we're gonna knit before we fill surface. So we're gonna knit this. Okay, then we're gonna do hide that top surface. We're gonna knit this together, or we're gonna fill surface that real quick. Let's fill surface. Okay, let's turn off the curvature and zebra stripes for now. Turn off optimize surfaces, and we're gonna make this first tangent. This tangent. Actually, let's do curvature because we saw that curvature actually clears that or makes that blend a lot cleaner. And then this is going to be tangent. Okay, I like that. See, it's not converting to a point, which is good. Zebra stripes, the blend looks good. There's no wrinkles. Curvature combs. Okay, looks good so far. Hit OK. Now we can knit this surface and this surface. And then we're gonna go and delete the bodies. Let's delete this body. And then we're gonna delete face, delete this face. Okay. Now this is the bottom half. Let's go back into the drop down menu. And also we're gonna delete this surface. We don't need that. So delete body, yep. Go back, and now we got these two surfaces here. Okay, before I knit the two, actually let's knit the two real quick and evaluate the surface. So knit, looks good. There might be a kink here. It looks like it, but we'll evaluate it. Go exit, evaluate. Blended looks good there. So it looks pretty good. Well, curvature will tell us. So we may need to clean this up a little bit, but it's not terrible. This gets trimmed away because it's a flat spot in the drone. We will trim that away, so I'm not too concerned. We are going to fillet this edge, so if the fillet fails, then we're definitely going to need to fix the surface. So that's another way to see if your surfaces are good. If you try to fillet and you have to put a really small fillet to make it work versus like the fillet that you want, that shows you that the surface is not good. So let's get out of that. Now that we have those two knitted, let's go to features, fillet. We're gonna do a face fillet. Then we're gonna go into chord. Let's try 10. Start off with 10. Select that face, and we have a fillet. That's grid. If we go to like 12, we should be okay, which is good. So 10 is a good, because if it failed, it wouldn't show up. And let's say you had to pick like one to make it show up, then you know that the surfaces between the two aren't good. So you may need to go back and fix it, fix the profile sketches. So I want to make this 12. Just to see. And I like what I see so far. And let's go to evaluate curvature. And you can kind of see it kind of took care of some of the black spots. Like I said, I may need to go back in and blend that, but it doesn't look too bad just because that's the bottom half. Let's see if I end up going back. What I'll probably do different is probably making the blends a lot cleaner on the sketches. But I think that's good for now. So this is the drone body, and then Next, let's mirror it across to see if the blend here is truly tangent on the bottom half. So we go to, oops, let's drag that back up there. Features, mirror. Let's mirror it across the right. Bodies, boom. Like that. Let's knit the two together, surfaces. Okay, so, yep, looks good on the bottom. So we have a nice tangency at the bottom after we mirrored that half. So this is the drone body so far. We use some features such as boundary surface, trim surface, fill surface, and then we also used the helper surfaces to make the correct blends for the fill surfaces, so that when you converge to, so that the fill surface doesn't converge or the boundary surface doesn't converge to a point creating issues. And if you really want to see if this thing shells out, let's cap this off real quick. Let me just show you. So a shell is another good feature to see if your blends are good too. If it doesn't shell, you have errors, go back and fix it. So let's do planar surface. I think I can cap this off with planar surface. Let's see. Actually, delete. Let's go to select that and go to open tangency. Nope. Open loop, I think. Try open loop. Yeah, cool. Open loop. Then we're gonna cap that off. Hit knit. Create solid. And then we're gonna shell it. So let's shell this guy real quick. Features, shell. Let's say we're gonna make this, I don't know, 2mm stick. Show preview. Boom, it shelled. So that shows you that our surfaces are good. If it didn't shell, let's say this surface converged to this corner and it had that wrinkle and you try to shell it, it wouldn't work. That's just another way to evaluate your surface, is by shelling it as well. So you can see it's shelled. Let's do a section view. And that all is looking clean inside. So shell is another feature to use to evaluate your surfaces. I can't iterate that enough. So use shell to evaluate. Use the zebra stripes to evaluate. Use the curvature to evaluate. And if something doesn't look right, go back, check the end conditions, play with the influences here to make sure it's right. You may need to select curvature to face to make sure that the blend is cleaner. So like, for instance, if I go back here, I may select that. Instead of saying tangency, use curvature. Maybe that's going to give me a cleaner blend. But for now, this is okay as far as demonstration purposes. So now that my surfaces are good, I'll move on to the next section. But I'll save that for the next video, where I build the wings and the propeller, and I use some other advanced features like project curves to build the top portions. Kind of like what you see. So kind of like what you see here is I create these top portions and this back portion. I use project curves. It's another advanced feature. And then I'll build in the wings, so you can see that as well. So you can kind of see the next portion of the series is the wings, the back portion, and I'll probably end up doing the propellers also in that next series. All right, that should be it. Whew. Yeah, I know that was pretty long. Hopefully it wasn't that confusing. If it was, just rewatch the videos. I promise you that it will all make sense. Surface geometry or surface modeling shouldn't be intimidating. It should hopefully be easy to use after this video. So you can see I actually went in, had a plan on how I wanted to create the geometry, and then went back and did some edits. And that's just the nature of surface modeling. You're always just back and forth motion where you create one surface, create another surface, check the blends, check the curvature, correct the profile, sketch, and then move on. But once you get really good at surface modeling, you'll be able to create essentially any complex shape. It might take a little bit longer than just using solid extrude cut and stuff like that, but this will separate you from being a pro and a newbie. So just go in, check out the tools, try it. And if you end up modeling this drone, make sure to tag me on Instagram at Ratha.Sochenda. I really like to see how it turns out. And without further ado, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'll be showing you the next portion, which is part 4, which is the wings, where I use some more surface geometry to create some of the more advanced stuff like surface loft, project curves. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.